Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service from the Center for Spiritual Living, Space Coast. My name is Reverend Dr. Ron Fox, and I welcome all of you. And this would be a great time to turn off your cell phones or turn it on manner mode or whatever. If you've never been to a Center for Spiritual Living before, we believe there's one God, many paths to that God, and we're here to love, honor, and support you no matter what your divine path is. And the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast is a safe haven for people of all beliefs and lifestyles. Whoever you are and wherever you may find yourself on your journey of faith, you're welcome here. Our practitioner this morning is Reverend Jenna, and I will be the reader leading into my message. So I have several announcements, but I want to begin. I want to let somebody come. You know, we meet in a Unity church, and they're having this absolutely fabulous book sale. So I want Barbara Fillmore to come up and tell us about it.
Thank you, Ron. Some of you I know have already visited the book sale, so I'm very happy about that. It will be today and next Sunday. After next Sunday, I have to pack up everything else and take it away. But it's $5 for $1, 5 books, 5 CDs. There are some wonderful CDs up there. Please come and take what you can. I will be there the whole time. So when this service is done, be there during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If you happen to come into the church, you can check with my husband, Randy Fillmore, in his office, and he'll let you into the library and you can look and see what's there. There's some really, really good volumes there. So please come. It's lovely to be here. That was a beautiful song.
That was Faith Rivera, who lives in Hawaii.
Oh, I've never seen her. Okay. I've heard her name. I didn't know that was her, but it's lovely. And it's lovely for our groups to work together as much as possible. So we'll be getting that room ready for you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So actually, I hadn't planned this, but I should announce it. We are going to be moving rooms. I did send an email out to the congregation sometime, probably in July. We're going to be moving from here to what's now the library and what we'll declare as the chapel, okay? We're declaring that. Anyway, my wife Becky is heading up a decorating committee. So if anybody, we have some people that did volunteer. If anybody would like to volunteer to serve on the decorating committee, please get a hold of Becky. And we would greatly appreciate any donations for decorations in the room. We have several people on the board have stepped forward, but we could always use some more money because I'm sure as much as we get, the decorating committee will find a use for. So, all right, I do have a couple of other announcements. We have a book group that's meeting every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And the book that we're reading is The 4 Agreements. And the way we're going to do it, we're doing it a little differently this time. We're reading the book at home and then coming and discussing. And if you want to join, it's never too late. The chapter that we agreed to read for this Tuesday is the first chapter okay. The chapter that we agreed to read is the first agreement. Thanks, Ed. It's the first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. And if you don't read it, you could still come and chat. There's, when we did this the last time, there were people that attended that never got the book. They would just come and talk. That's online? Pardon? Yeah, we're doing it online. Okay. We also have a Socrates circle, and we had our first meeting yesterday, and we agreed to make some changes. We were meeting on Zoom, and we agreed from now on we would meet in person. That a Socrates circle works better in person. So, and we agreed instead of meeting every week, we're going to meet the first and third Saturday of the month at 10 o'clock. I'll be, emailing, but the first and third Saturday, and the first one we're going to do is July 2nd, Saturday, July 2nd. That'll give people time to get adjusted. And please tell your friends. We also are putting it on our Facebook page, and you could share our Facebook page to friends. So anybody is, in fact, we really started these side doors in order to attract more people. So please tell your friends. And the last announcement I want to make about a class is beginning this Wednesday, and from then on, the third Wednesday of the month, from 10:30 to noon, one of our practitioners, Patrice Rivera, is doing a 3-part class titled Expanding into the Inner Wisdom of Our Body. Patrice has been a licensed practitioner for 17 years. She's really terrific. I'm sure some of you have heard her pray, and she's done some talks for me. So again, it's this Wednesday in this room, 10:30 to noon. And Patrice told us that when this class was offered at Mile High Church, they were literally paying $50 a class for it. We're just asking for a love donation for anybody that comes. And if you want to make a donation, obviously, if it's in person, you could do it in person, or you could go on. All of the classes are on a love offering basis. You can go on our website, cslspacecoast.org, and hit the donate tab, and it'll explain how you can do that. I also was asked, when I made the announcement about the Socrates Circle, to give people an idea of some of the questions that we might be asking. So this is just, I'll just read a few. If you could offer a newborn child only one piece of advice, what would it be? What have you not done that you really want to do? What's holding you back? If you knew that everyone this is interesting. If you knew that everyone you knew was going to die tomorrow, who would you visit today? And what's the difference between being alive and truly living? Those are just kind of a sample. I have about 50 questions. So, and the way we've done it in the past is when we meet, I'll give you a couple of questions, and the group could just choose which one they would like to do. I think that's it, except you can see the size of this last announcement I made because I forgot it last week. Next week is unexpected income, okay? And so please set the intention that unexpected income will come into your life. And what we mean by unexpected income is, maybe you get a tax refund that you didn't expect, or somebody takes you out and buys you lunch or dinner or anything like that. That unexpected income comes into your life. And what we do on the third Sunday is invite people to come up, tell us how the unexpected income came into their life, and to share a little bit of it with us. So with that, we'll listen to another song.
Let's just take this moment to go within. And I know that is with a grateful heart, a heart overflowing with love, that I recognize the supreme consciousness, that consciousness of love that moved upon itself to create all that is, to create the planets in the universe, in this earth, and all the living things on this earth, the trees, the water, the beautiful animals, and each one of us. We are individualized expression of this supreme consciousness, this consciousness of love, the consciousness of goodness and wholeness and peace. That is what we are. That is who we are. As we turn ourselves into our hearts, we know that truth, that is who we are. And so in this moment, let's feel this gratitude that love and goodness is our birthright. It is the isness of our lives. And as we feel this place of goodness and creation and hope and love, let us give thanks that we come together today in this awareness to love and support each other, to be there as a community, and to learn and grow together, to expand our own consciousness of the truth of who we are, to live in love, and to create love on this planet, to create love and gratitude, kindness and goodness with our very thought and our very deed. I give thanks today for everyone that helps makes this service come alive, and especially to Reverend Dr. Ron, whose heart is big and growing and feels that love, that God's love that flows through him, allowing him to share words, thoughts, and ideas that inspire us, that help us to grow and to deepen and expand this sense of love and gratitude. And for all of this, I do give thanks. And so it is.
So Ed Powers has been the reader, it seems like forever. So I volunteered to give him a break this week and be the reader, but I'm going to make it part of the message today. And the message is building a better world. And this reading that I'm going to do, I actually wrote in 2005 as a daily guide for Science of Mind magazine. And so here we go. I've heard it said that we compose the story of our lives by the choices we make. I believe that honor is a state of being, something we embody. It's not a commodity we turn on and off. I'm often asked by people, does it really matter what I do? How can I really make a difference? My answer to them is that change comes about the world one consciousness at a time. What we do as individuals affects all of us, our entire planet. When we believe we're small and powerless, we become victims. Ernest Holmes, and for those of you that don't know, he founded the Centers for Spiritual Living. Ernest Holmes wrote, "The desire you have to be something, to do something, is a mental echo in your mind of the spirit which already exists within you. That echo calls us to be the best we can be, to make choices that are uplifting, choices that speak to our highest and best intentions. If we accept that it is our purpose to see God in every situation, then we answer the call to act honorably, to be ethical, and to follow the path where it leads." Recently, I saw a vignette about God speaking to a seeker. "Your task is to build a better world," said God. "But how? I am small and weak and powerless," replied the seeker. In his infinite wisdom, God said, "Just build a better you." We live in a complicated, interesting, I wrote this now almost 20 something years ago, and it's so true today. We live in a complicated, fast-paced world where change is coming more quickly than ever before. However, our own inner compass remains changeless and is ever present. It is that still small voice that calls us to be true to ourselves. And if I had to say, here's the overarching theme of what I want to talk about today, it's a quote by Rumi, who said, "Yesterday I was clever. I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." So again, the topic today is building a better world. And in the book, Real Moments, Barbara DeAngelis says that our society is out of balance. We have more material comforts, and we all know this is true, than any time ever before. And yet, the levels of crime, the levels of abuse, the levels of divorce, and the levels of addiction are higher than they have ever been. And she goes on, she talks about how we have so much more technical ability to do things we never dreamed about. You know, I still, when I was growing up, actually, I hadn't thought about this before. When I was growing up, the big science fiction thing in the comics was Dick Tracy and his watch. You know, he was able to speak to his watch. He was able to get messages. And it was like, whoa, that's not happening. I have a watch now that I can talk. I can actually do calls on my watch. I get texts on my watch. And so the technology we have is greater than ever before. And Barbara says that we've lost the ability to enjoy it. We've lost the ability to enjoy it. Well, there's a lot coming to me that I didn't think of when I was preparing this, but I read something this week about the family and how years ago, families used to be the safe place where people went and everybody had their dinner together and it was a loving space. And now with all of the things that are going on, family is more like a place where you touch base and maybe grab something to eat on the run while you're taking somebody to soccer practice or where you're running here and there. Our lives are so different. And so some of the questions we can ask ourselves is, what makes me happy? What makes me happy? How often do I experience real moments of happiness? How do I know when I'm happy? I'm going to talk about these in a minute. And one of the things is we often don't recognize these moments of happiness because we're expecting something different, something bigger, something flashier, something more dramatic. So let me give you two examples of what I'm talking about. And one of them, Barbara DeAngelo shares. So at some point, she and her husband went on vacation, on vacation. And she said the first 2 days were really good. They went by really well. And she said, I was enjoying what we were doing, swimming, sunbathing, making love. She said the things that I really enjoy. And she said, but then around the third day, I had the feeling something wasn't right. And she said she went to meditate on it and think about it. And what she realized was she was waiting to be happy. She was waiting to be happy, like this thing called happiness was going to descend down on her head and come through her. She was waiting, she said, for happiness to come from outside of herself and rather than from within her. And she said what she got was that happiness isn't a state of being. It's a series of real moments when we allow ourselves to feel and to be. So I'll give you another example, which I hope you'll really enjoy because I like it. So I read this in an Alan Cohen book, The Devil, I think it's The Devil Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Is that right? No, my wife just shook her head. She's my book person. Anyway, so a student comes to a guru and says, I want enlightenment. I want to be enlightened. And the guru says to him, okay, go find a cave and meditate and be naked. Okay, go find a cave, meditate, and be naked. So the fellow, the student, he finds the perfect cave, but he takes a loincloth with him. And what happens every once in a while, he's got to wash the loincloth and he hangs it up to dry. And what he notices that when it's hung up to dry, mice are nibbling at the edges. So he goes into the town and he asks people, what do you do? And one woman says to him, you have to get a cat. So he gets a cat. And then he realizes cat's got to have milk. So he goes and he begs for a while for milk. And the people get annoyed and they say, you need to get a cow. So he takes time off to get a job, to get money, to get a cow. And he gets the cow. After he gets the cow, he realizes cow needs grass to eat. So he's got to get a patch of land. So he takes more time off to get a job, to get the money to buy a patch of grass, which he does. So now he needs the cow to eat the grass, to feed the cow, to feed the cat the milk, to stop the mice from doing what they do. So what does he do? He takes a wife to help him. And the wife is going to manage everything while he has time to meditate on enlightenment. Well, what happens when you're married? You have kids. So they have kids, and now he finds himself the manager of a farm. One day, a couple of years later, the guru comes, looks in the cave, and sees he's not there. So he goes to the farm right there, and he says to the farmer, do you know what happened to my student? And the farmer says, I'm your student. And the guru says, what happened? And the farmer says, I took a loincloth with me. And the point is, I love that story. The point is that we have ideas and opinions about how things could be better instead of mastering what's at hand. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, it does not matter what you do. What does matter is that you do it to your best. If you're a street sweeper, then be the best street sweeper that ever was. Do your work with pride and do it with dignity. And in so doing, you will be doing it with greatness. And again, the point is to be everything we can be. And well, you'll see, I'll talk about it some more. So a fellow named Todd Smith, I read a blog by him this week, and he said that he adopted a mindset 25 years ago. And his mindset was, it's up to me and no one else to be sure that I'm doing what I know I should be doing. Again, the mindset he set was, it's up to me and no one else to be sure I am doing what I know I should be doing. Things like, he said, how you spend your time, your behaviors, your attitude and thoughts, and doing things that you agree to do. Again, doing what you know you should do and being what you know you should be. You know, another example, I have a woman came to a minister and said, I really want to meet a man. And the minister said to her, you know, the perfect man is out there for you. And she said, how do I meet him? And he said to her, by becoming the kind of woman that will attract the man you want. And that's true for us, not just in attracting a partner, but it's true for us in everything. When we want something in our life, what we need to do is become what attracts that, to be different. You know, I was thinking, again, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I was thinking about it this week in terms of all of the arguing that's going on about gun legislation. And what I thought about is that in terms of being what you want to be, neither side is doing that. We're kind of like, you know, in our areas that we're in, and we're calling the other side names and whatever. And how do you ever come to anything if you're being the least of who you should be instead of the most of who you should be? How are they ever going to come to an agreement when they're just pounding one another instead of stepping aside and maybe seeing the other side and approaching it with love and compassion rather than with bitterness and anger or anything? Anyway, I read something by a book by a lady named Lynn Robinson, who wrote a book that said, creating the life you love, creating the life you love. And she said, what we need to do is act as if, and that's also a Mary Morrissey thing, to act as if. And she said, what would your life be like if you acted as if you were, sure of yourself, creative, filled with creative ideas, well-liked, destined to succeed, filled with energy, happy and purposeful? What if you acted as if that were your truth, and then watch what happened as that comes into your life? Ernest Holmes wrote, the blind cannot lead the blind. There must be a seeing eye. Develop this inward vision. Understand who and what you are and why you cannot help being happy, and you will bring joy to everyone whom you contact. So I think probably most of you have heard of Leo Biscaglia, and I think he taught at UCLA. And I don't remember what he taught initially, but he then decided to teach classes on love. And I was reading something about him this week. He heard that 2 students were killed going across the campus. I don't know if it was purposeful or an accident, but 2 students died. And it really got to him that here these 2 young people died before they ever really had a chance to live. And he realized how precious every life is. So he went back to his class and he asked each of them to write an essay on what they would do if they had the time. What would you do if you had the time? And here's 3 of the responses he got. Take long walks at the beach at sunset. Leave school and play my music. Call my dad and fix our strained relationship. And what he did, what he wrote to these kids, he wrote in big letters on the papers that he gave them back. Well, what are you waiting for? Why are you here? Why don't you do it now? Get out and fulfill your dream. Now is the moment. Now is our moment to live. Again, now is our moment to live. And when I read these, it brought me back to the second job I had was in Hoboken, New Jersey, in the largest coffee plant in the world. And one of the people, I was a young guy, very sure of himself, smart ass. And one of the people that took me under his wing was the superintendent of maintenance. His name was Louis Matarazzo. And he really took a liking to me, and I got to really like him. He would give me life advice, and if I was going off the wrong end on a grievance, he would pull me back. He just really liked me, and I got to really care about him. General Foods was building the most technical, up-to-date plant in Lafayette, Indiana, and Louis came to me and he said, you're a human resource guy. What could you do to get me the job of superintendent of maintenance? And of course, I couldn't do anything to help him, but I would give him advice on interviewing, etc. He got the job. Louis got the job. And as he was moving into his new house, he literally had a heart attack and died on the front step. Never got to enter the plant and work it. The point is, now is our moment to live, to be here. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised 10 minutes from now. Now is our moment. Mary Marcy, in one of her books, writes 5 ways to determine if your life's dream is big enough. Here's the 5 tests that she has. Does the dream enliven me? Does this dream align with my core values? Do I need help from a higher source to make this dream come true? Will this dream require me to grow into more of my true self? And lastly, will this dream ultimately bless others? So I read this week that one of St. Francis's companions asked him one day, Francis, why you? And Francis said, I'll tell you why me. Because there are few people that have made as many mistakes as I have made. He said, I have nothing to offer the world. That's why God chose me, to give hope to all of the people that think they have nothing to offer the world. Because if God can work through me, God can work through anybody. And you know, the point is, I think that he was making is that we all have something to give, and God can work through all of us. And as we offer our gifts to the world, first of all, if we don't, the world doesn't ever get them. But as we offer our gifts to the world, again, one consciousness at a time, we change the world. You know, maybe we change our family or the town we live in or whatever, but it's our way of changing the world. So I'll just end with this quote from Dale Carnegie, who said, are you bored with life? Then throw yourself into some work you believe in with all your heart. Live for it, die for it, and you'll find happiness you had never thought could be yours. So again, thank you for being here. God bless you and have a great week.